Explanation of compound interest and why is it the key to riches. Have you ever wondered why the term compound interest is regarded as the most powerful one in the world of investing? This is because these two extremely powerful words are essentially the secret to making money through investments. In fact, going by historical evidence, creating generational wealth and becoming financially secure is largely a function of making more money, and the wisest way to achieve this is by adopting and understanding how compound interest works. As the world's most successful investor once said, "My wealth has come from a combination of living in America, some lucky genes, and compound interest." Hello there, this is the Financial Fortune, and in this video, we are going to talk about how compound interest works and why is it the key to being wealthy. Don't forget to leave a like, click subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we release new videos. Given that it only works with the time and has a uniform impact on everyone, compound interest is regarded by investors around the world as the eighth wonder of the world. The world has changed since then, and the most reliable trail to wealth creation in the world today has been through investments and earning through compound interest. For a long time, many people believed that simply increasing their savings would help them become wealthy and achieve some degree of financial freedom. When you earn through compound interest, you're not just earning interest on the principal balance you invested, you also receive large returns on your interest, which are often put back to the principal amount to allow you to receive additional returns. This is the component of compound interest that is most important right now. The fact that the interest you earn is added back to your principal amount at various intervals such as daily, monthly, yearly, or even continuously. The trick here is that your principal balance will grow more quickly and you will become richer over time the more often the interest you earn on your investment is compounded. For the purposes of context, suppose you invested $5,000 at a 5% annual interest. You would have $250 in interest by the end of the first year, which when added to your principal balance increases the value of your investment to $5,250. In the second year, you'd be receiving 5% on your higher balance of $5,250, which would be equal to $262.50, which in turn raises your new principal balance to $5,512.50 at the end of the year. However, what happens if you continue to ignore this investment for 10 years? This is where the magic of compound interest comes to play. You'd end up with an investment balance of $8,235.05 by the end of the 10th year. This would indicate that you earned $3,235.05 in compound interest after a 10-year investment cycle, just making your money work for you. One fundamental idea that the very wealthy who have a lot of money but never seem to work for it understand and use to increase their wealth is compound interest. If you do not have a solid understanding of the crucial elements and the various variables that contribute to producing those large returns, your understanding of compound interest will still fall short. Do you have any idea what these elements are? Comment down below and don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. The basic factors of compound interest are in 5 primary categories. Number 1. Your starting principal. Compound interest truly builds up over time, but the amount of returns you'd receive after your investment cycle does still primarily depend on how big your initial or principal investment was. If you can afford to invest a very high amount from the start, then you'd be in for a surprise when this initial investment starts to multiply exponentially. If not, you can still benefit from compound interest with whatever small initial principal you have available for you. Number 2. The frequency of compounding. This is equally crucial to having the ability to make a large initial investment. The pace at which interest is compounded is the most important indicator of how quickly your principal balance grows. While other options are available, the most real and most common compounding is annually, so it's vital that you understand fully how often you'd be earning compounds. Number 3. Interest. Wouldn't it just be ridiculous if you had no knowledge how the interest you earn on your investment is being generated? Naturally, when the interest rate is high, you earn more money, but the same thing applies when you take out a loan. The higher the interest rate in this situation, the more money you'd owe to your bank. Number 4. Period of investment. Only when you leave money unattended for a considerable amount of time, ideally between 10 and 30 years or longer, does compound interest begin to work its magic. The longer you keep holding on to your investment, the greater your likelihood of multiplying your principal investment in multiple folds and the more income you have achieved in creating. Number 5. Frequency on deposits and withdrawals. These are very prevalent during plenty of investment cycles and respectively impact the returns you ultimately earn on your investments. The rate at which you add to your primary balance or take away from it will have a large influence and make a major difference over the long run. It's now very simple to determine the potential returns from an investment when interest is compounded over a specific period thanks to the internet. To do this, you can conveniently use any of the online calculators available, but while calculating, it's crucial that you divide the interest rate by the number of times it's to be compounded during each year of the investment. Your interest rate can be a daily average, a monthly, or an annual average depending on the interval at which it's compounded. Once you've attained a comprehensive understanding of all these variables that are taken into account while compounding interest, it's also crucial to comprehend and be familiar with how you can get compound interest to work for you. The most critical part to attaining this is to be patient and give yourself time. With compound interest, time is the main determinant. The general principle here is to start investing toward your retirement as early as possible. This is because the sooner you start, the longer you'll be able to pay for your investment to grow. When you start early, you're able to grow the majority of your retirement fund through compounding and potentially even retire early yourself. Whatever your background, learning how to use compound interest to your advantage is a tremendous equalizer. Compound interest has no upper limit on how much wealth it can produce. No matter who you are or where you're from, it's always possible to use compound interest to your advantage. As it's common with several investments, making money using compound interest can be similarly difficult in the earlier years, especially when your returns are still like little snowballs. But these snowballs from the early years can eventually grow into an avalanche, especially when you end up leaving your investment untouched. This is primarily what wealth creation implies, and compound interest won't stop working in your favor and your wealth won't start naturally attracting more wealth until your investment returns snowball into an avalanche. Compound interest is undoubtedly a fantastic way you can take as an average earner to become wealthy and achieve financial freedom. The hard truth is that they actually don't need that much money, despite the fact that many people still cling to the false assumption that they don't have enough to profit from the stock market. For example, the average income in the America today is $50,000 annually. Let's say you are a 25-year-old earning this income yearly. All you really need to do is to invest $5,000 of this annually in the stock market and hope for a 10% return in the least. Once you reach the retirement age of 65, your $5,000 annual investment would have compounded each into $2,434,221 in a span of 40 years. Only compounding interest will make this possible, and if you're fortunate enough to find a great investment with higher return, your compounded earnings will be significantly higher. Take comfort in knowing that nothing can stop your investment from growing and you'd continue to make money every second of the day. Compound interest tests your patience and can be your greatest buddy and surest path to wealth, especially if you are able to stay consistent. So set aside with all of your mistaken perceptions about the compound interest today and get it on the action. In 1 or 2 decades, you could be an early retiree and the newest millionaire in town. As long as you're patient and disciplined, compound interest is likely to benefit you. This is the Financial Fortune, and thank you for watching.